Shalom. I want to begin first and foremost giving all praises to the Heavenly Father Yahweh and His only begotten Son Yahweh Shai, whom the world ignorantly calls Jehovah and Jesus. I want to give all praises in the ancient Hebrew tongue. Before I do that, the real name of the Father is Yahweh, which means He exists, and the real name of the Son is Yahweh Shai, which means He delivers. I want to give all praises in the ancient Hebrew tongue while facing the east towards Jerusalem. Call halal, la, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwatash, Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, the water, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwatash. Honors to the apostles, to the elders of Yasharala, Greatmillstone, Shalom to the 144,000, Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel, who are the descendants of the slaves identified as the so-called African Americans, so-called Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans. My name is Micah Allah. Today I want to talk about the nuclear missiles. All right, Revelation 18 verse 15, the merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing. And her is referring to Babylon, which is America, and saying, Alas, alas, that great city, that was clothed in fine linen, and purple, and scarlet, and decked with gold, and precious stones, and pearls. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster, and all the ship company and ships, and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust on their heads, crying and weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, also, alas, alas, that great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea, by reason of her costliness, for in 1 hour she is made desolate. All right, and this part right here where it says that with gold and precious stones and pearls, all right, those precious stones are referring to the Israelites because the Lord uses precious stones like emeralds, diamonds, amethyst, to describe the Israelites. Right? And then in America, Babylon has gotten rich off of the Israelites, off of slavery, or off of the slavery of the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Right? And all those merchant ships, all these companies, a lot of countries have gotten rich off of America, right? Trading with her, basically exporting to America their goods, their products. So, it's like a business losing its best customer. They're going to cry over that. All right, they're going to be sad. All right, North Korea could produce 10 to 20 nukes per year, South Korea leader. North Korea could soon produce 10 to 20 nuclear weapons per year, South Korea's dovish new president said Monday, as he called for efforts to lower tensions. It's always funny when they say things like that. North Korea has assembled an estimated 50 warheads and has fissile material to produce up to 40 more, according to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute. An ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missile, capable of reaching the United States, is almost fully developed. And they are continuing to build the capacity to produce approximately 10 to 20 nuclear bombs per year, President Lee Jae-myung said at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. So these numbers are most likely off because, in the art of war, it's not a good idea to, let your enemies know how strong you are or how weak you are. All right, you keep that under wraps. You don't let them know. You don't let anybody know. What your military strength really is, because it can be exploited. So these numbers could, it could be way more. They say 10 or 20 nuclear bombs. They probably produce 200. All right, they probably have way more nuclear missiles than what they currently have. And it says that, they're continuing to build the capacity to, they say that they have an ICBM capable of reaching the U.S. almost developed. Man, they could have had an ICBM capable of reaching any part in the continental U.S. Years ago. All right, they could have had this technology years ago. All right, the Russians. All right, look at what it says here. All right, in 1 hour, is she made desolate? All right, that kind of destruction can only come from nuclear fire. All right, I know natural disaster is a no countrywide natural, because natural disasters are usually localized, localized natural disasters. All right, localized. They're usually localized, and the casualties are usually contained to within those areas that are affected. But a nuclear missiles, all right, those bombs could affect everywhere simultaneously in America. All right, and they have the technology, either propulsion system technology, Russia in particular, that lets their missiles reach America within half an hour. All right, hypersonic missiles. So that fits well within the prophecy of America being destroyed within 1 hour, Babylon being destroyed. And if America is not Babylon in Revelation, then what country is it? What other country fits that profile? All right, you can't tell me that, oh, ancient Babylon is going to be resurrected in the Middle East. All right, I'm going to end it with this. Jeremiah 50, verse 13. Because of the wrath of the Yahweh, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues. All right, it's America. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow. Shoot at her. Spare no arrows. All right, they're gonna shoot off all of their missiles. All right. I don't think they're gonna leave one behind. For she hath sinned against Yahweh. Shout against her round about. She hath given her hand. Her foundations are fallen. Her walls are thrown down. For it is the vengeance of Yahweh. Take vengeance upon her, as she hath done. Do unto her. Cut off the sower from Babylon, and him that handleth the sickle in the time of harvest. For the fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn every one to his people, and they shall flee every one to his own land. You're seeing that happening right now. The beginning stages of that, people leaving America because of ICE. All right, and pretty soon, ICE and whatever martial law troops, whatever authorities that they deploy in America, they're going to make ICE's current actions seem like a walk in the park. Okay, it's going to be nothing. It's going to be child's play compared to what's going to happen soon. And really, ICE deporting, East Southern Kingdom Israelites, so-called illegal immigrants. That's really the Lord doing them a favor, because Yahweh Bashim Shai is going to use these countries to completely annihilate America through nuclear fire. Right, I'm going to leave it there. I hope the video is edifying. Shalom.